Hi friends, I am Melissa. Thank you for stopping by my channel today. I am a grieving mother, and I am grieving the loss of my two youngest children, Noah and Sophia. And today I'm making a video discussing the mental impact of my grief. 4 years ago, our children were murdered by their oldest brother. And I have been through a lot of different emotions. And my previous video has been talking about emotional impact. And now I'm kind of moving into the mental impact and kind of just making some videos about my mind and the mental state. And the holidays definitely bring that up, you know. And now we are through Christmas. Thank goodness, really, you know. It was nice when we had it, and it's nice that it's over and that we're now past it in a way, really, you know. Because I feel crazy. I feel unhinged at times. And that's what I wanted to talk about today was, and I want to apologize for using the word crazy. I know that maybe it could invoke some feelings in some people, especially with the mental health community. And I do use that word humbly. My own son, oldest son, has severe mental health illness, you know, but it's a layman term that I use, you know, so I'll be using that term. It's, you know, my emotions are erratic, you know, they're erratic, and my mind either spins or it completely shuts down. So, you know, it's like I just can't rest, and I'm always on the verge of tears. And so those feelings just kind of all wrapped up together is just kind of why I feel so unhinged all the time, you know. Loss, I have my notes, sorry, friends, but, you know, loss makes us question our sanity. It does, you know, and especially death makes us question our sanity. You know, and I think about my children and in the manner in which they die, and that makes me go crazy. It does. You know, I know they suffered some, and the thought of that drives me nuts. You know, and just even as the mother, and even as the doctors, and they say no, they didn't, or in shock, and you know, and Sophia had no tears in her eyes ever, once, not once, as I'm holding her. It just doesn't, I don't know, you know, it's like the mind just doesn't seem to, it wants to grasp onto what the physicians are telling you, but there's just like this other part of your mind that's just like, there's just no way they did not. Some. How can you not have? And that just drives me insane as their mother. Oh my gosh, does it ever. I just feel like I'm coming apart and I feel trapped. Sometimes I can't breathe. So you know what? Maybe I am going crazy. You know, most people feel crazy at some point in their lives, you know, in this grief process, you know, feeling like we might be losing it. From what I hear from other grieving parents, they use the same terminology, feel like they're going insane. They feel like they're going crazy, you know? So it's got to be natural and common for us grieving parents to feel this way in our minds, you know, to feel unhinged, to feel, you know, these emotions, they unpredictably come upon me. They climb, they fall, they twist, they drop. I mean, it's just like, you know what? It reminds me of like a really shitty ass roller coaster that was built, you know, just real half-assed, built, put together, and it is so extremely dangerous. That's what my emotions are, that ride. And I'm on that poorly constructed, shitty ass roller coaster ride that is extremely dangerous, and no person in their right mind would put their child or themselves on that roller coaster ride. It's like one of those rides that when you go to the amusement park and it's all with the tape all around it, all the yellow tape all around it, and the caution and do not enter and dangerous area. And, you know, those are all of my emotions together, and it's visible. for the outside world. It's visible, you know? And then there's also times I don't feel anything at all. You know, I don't feel anything like myself. You know, my body betrays me. You know, there's like these come and go symptoms that attack me, you know, and the stress pounds my physical health. It does. It just pounds it, and I feel like I'm falling apart. And that's what it feels like in grief, especially as a grieving parent, a grieving mother. You know, my mind spins. So the racing thoughts are common. I forget things. I can't concentrate. I feel like a shadow of my former self that I'm always chasing after, and then sometimes not chasing after. You know, I'm always asking myself sometimes, what's happening to me? Does anyone else relate? Does anyone else feel these? Do any of you other grieving parents have these racing thoughts? Whether it's the death of your child or the estrangement of your child, teenager, adult child. You know, I have a few friends that my heart aches for them because their adult children have cut them out of their lives. They're young adult children, early 20s, you know, 18, 19, 20, 21 years old, and they are a hot mess, and they're away from their homes, and the parents feel like it's a death for them. They have zero contact with them, unable to reach them. But yet they are still alive. So there's still hope. My two children are dead, and my oldest son is in prison for 96 years. Yeah, I feel unhinged at times. It's just like really similar to being like on the edge of a cliff, one of our, you know, Rocky Mountains, one of the Rocky Mountain cliffs, and I'm just on the edge, you know, and I'm at this could give away at any moment spot on that cliff, that like a sinkhole, any moment, just give in, you know. It's interesting. In one of my grief books, the bereavement researchers, they actually refer to this, what they say, going crazy syndrome. They actually gave it a term, going crazy syndrome. Seriously, guys. So, you know, and once again, I like words. I like to read. I like to try to, you know, identify. Yeah, that's just me. You know, I process, I think a lot, I ponder a lot, you know. And so just the idea that somebody else in the bereavement community coined what my mind is doing, I don't know. It seems a tad bit helpful, you know, a little bit. So yeah, in grief, as grieving parents, we feel like we're going nuts. The truth is, however, that we feel crazy because we're in a crazy situation. So that's why we feel crazy. And it's like, that just really hit me these last 2 years of my grief. Like, you know what? No wonder I feel like I'm going crazy, because I'm in a crazy situation, you know? And if I'm so immersed, head, you know, knee deep in all this craziness, I'm going to be impacted by it. We are going to be impacted by it, friends, you know? And so as humans, I do this a lot. I tend to personalize things way too often. And so, and to think that the crazy, and so I tend to think the crazy's coming from me. But it's not coming from me, you know. My son has died. My daughter has died. That's a crazy ass situation. You know, that's crazy. That's crazy and insane. So since I'm in this situation, it's impacted me. And so I feel crazy. You know, I'm in the center of this, and it will make me think I'm nuts, because I'm in the center of this grief, this craziness, this crazy situation. You know, life without Sophia and Noah is crazy. It's insane. It's nuts. It's ridiculous. It is just beyond natural. is what it is, you know? Yes, I feel crazy sometimes, I do. And I've got a handful of family and friends that just cannot wrap their minds around that. Toxic relationships is what they are. And the Lord has finally brought me to a place where I don't have to be a part of their daily lives anymore. I don't have to subject myself anymore to their hurtful, narcissistic, self-centered thoughts and opinions and expectations of me. So yeah. Yep. Feeling a little nuts becomes normal in grief. So yeah, do we feel crazy? Yeah, chances are though it's not us. It's our grief. It's our grief, friends. It's our grief. So we need you to try to comprehend that, because I tell you, feeling loony or unhinged is no fun. It ain't no picnic, friends. It ain't no picnic. I feel crazy, and losing my children will do that to me. Losing a child will do that to you. And then imagine losing two of them, at the same time. It just leaves me feeling unhinged most of the time. It does, racing thoughts. My mind spins. It does, friends. It does. William Shakespeare had this quote that I wanted to read to you. I wrote it down. I just found it was pretty interesting. Really, very interesting. Everyone can master a grief, but he that has it. Let me say that again. Everyone can master a grief, but he that has it. Yeah, think about that. Yeah. A lot of people who aren't grieving sure got a lot to say about my grief. A lot of people who are grieving differently about Noah and Sophia because they were their nephew or niece or friend cannot tell me and my husband how we can grieve, because we are their parents. We created them. They came from my body. Well, God created them and gave them to us. But you know what I'm saying? There are children. And it is a deep, deep loss. A deep, deep loss. So yeah, my mind can't sit still. And when I try, it's like my insides shake. My mind is like a room full of Super Balls bouncing randomly in all these directions. That's what my mind is like sometimes, friends. That's what it's like. It is. It's what it's like. Sometimes my head hurts with all the activity. Like physically hurts from all the Super Balls bouncing all around in my head. When loss hits, when death strikes us, the death of our children, that it affects us mentally. It affects us mentally. It does, and our minds, they shift into overdrive. Our brains are struggling to make sense of it all, like physically struggling to make sense of it all. So racing thoughts are natural and common for those of us who are grieving. Our brains are searching insistently, just for answers frantically with determination, such a seeking, such a yearning, it is so strong. It is so strong, these answers that we are searching and yearning for, these answers to our questions. And we have a lot of them as grieving parents, a lot of them. Like, why did this happen? How? Could it have been avoided? What could I or we or anyone have done differently that would have made a difference? Who's responsible for this? Yeah, there's certain images that are burned into my consciousness from witnessing my children's murder, they are burned in there. Burned in there like one of them permanent tattoo that there ain't no covering up of it. You know, the trauma to my own small children. These nightmares are here. Sleep is disturbed or sometimes gone altogether, or sometimes too much sleep. You know, and I'm afraid to close my eyes. I've seen enough. And I don't want to see anymore. Yeah. My thoughts spin and they got very little or any resolution, you guys. They're like, it's like that revolving damn door that just keeps going. All it does is circulate in the air. I ain't doing nothing else. So those are my questions. Those are, answers that don't come, mind, and my thoughts just racing and racing. And, yeah, so much do I want off this merry-go-round. Yeah, but how? Yeah, Jesus. My hope is in him all day long. My hope is in him for my racing thoughts and my crazy feelings. And some of us need medication, to slow down this mental runaway train long enough so we can be functional in daily life. And there is no shame in that at all. No shame whatsoever, And then, and some of us, we, as grieving parents, we need assistance from a variety of sources and people if we're even going to try to make it through halfway ass intact for the day. Okay. And so, and then some of us, we're trying to medicate in other ways. We're just attempting to quiet these raging thoughts. So, sometimes whether alcohol, drugs, sex, food, shopping. Oh, I'm guilty of shopping. Oh my goodness. I'll go buy something. What do I think that's going to replace my children or it's ridiculous. Some of the stuff that I have acquired in these last 4 years. I find myself just giving it out, giving it back away, regifting because I don't even know where my mind was at that. And then I wonder why I'm struggling to pay my cell phone bill or a utility bill because I just went and bought the most ridiculous thing that I didn't even need. And so I got like a drawer full of random crap or a dresser full of random jewelry or just, yeah. Maybe trying to focus my mind on shopping and purchasing that item, trying to quiet these raging thoughts that are going on as if I'm doing something so natural by purchasing something I don't even need. Yeah, anything for relief. So please, no judgment there, friends. Because we as grieving parents, our thoughts won't stop. The mind won't be quiet. It won't be still. And so we're just seeking relief in any ways we can. Even though we all know the unhealthy, negative, addictive behaviors don't accomplish nothing. We know that, but we're just trying to escape that for the moment. And then, of course, when the moment's done, you're done shopping, done drugging, alcoholing, whatever, the racing thoughts, they return with a vengeance. But whatever, that's our reality. And sometimes it's a merry-go-round, our mind spins, racing thoughts, going crazy, feeling like you're going crazy is natural and common in grieving parents. Losing a child, and in our case, 2 of them, it is a mentally shaking experience. It is mentally shaking. My mind is never still, and I'm always thinking about and looking for Noah and Sophia. Yeah, parents whose children are still alive, you don't do that. You're not thinking of your child all day. You sent them off to school and they're safe. You sent them to daycare and they're safe. Nana and Papa's and they're safe. And you go about your day, your work, your job, and you're not looking for your child. You're not, as you're driving down the street or in the store, looking for your children and you see a small child that really resembles your child. Gosh, praise God, you don't have that grief. But we do, and it's an awful reality. Well, friends, I wanted to end this note with you here, and I probably just need to stop right about here. I'm kind of getting some interruptions, and yeah, I just wanted to let you know, racing thoughts and going crazy, that's normal in grief. That's very normal in grief. Racing thoughts, going crazy, it's normal, friends. It's normal. We need to give ourselves grace, kindness, compassion. Breathe deeply. Pray, write it out. You know, something about it, something happens when we do that. When we breathe, write, talk, and pray, something happens. Yeah, something does happen. Oh, friends, what does your mind tend to race about? You know, what does your mind tend to race about? And how have you felt a little crazy since the death of your child? How so? Yeah, those are things I've been really writing out and thinking about a lot more lately. Well, God bless you, brothers and sisters. Be well, and I will see you on the next video.